Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? You're tuned into episode 188 of the Idiotic Sports Talk. I'm your host, Liam Gavin, coming to you live from my bedroom. Today, I'm giving you all the Week 4 recap around the NFL. A lot of action, just great games overall. We'll start with the Thursday game. Lions beat the Packers 34-20. Jared Goff, 210 passing, a touchdown and interception. David Montgomery, 121 rushing yards with 3 TDs. And Amon-Ra St. Brown with a touchdown catch. As for Jordan Love of the Packers, 246 passing, a touchdown, 2 picks, and a rushing touchdown. Romeo Doubs, 9 catches for 95 yards. And Christian Watson, in his first game back of the season, a touchdown catch. So the Lions moved to 3-1 with a statement win on the road against their divisional rival. Jared Goff threw a pick to start the game. It led to a field goal and a 3-0 lead for the Packers, but after that pick, the Lions offense was unstoppable. They scored 27 points and led 27-3 at the end of the first half. Jared Goff and the Lions had 421 yards. They ran for 211 yards, and they converted third and fourth downs nonstop. They controlled the time of possession easily. The defense stepped up. They had 5 sacks with 2 picks. And Dan Campbell becomes the first Lions head coach to win 4 straight games against the Packers in 40 years. And as for the Packers, they made it a close fourth quarter when the score was 27-17, but Love threw his second pick, and that was the nail in the coffin. The Packers offense had 273 yards, and they failed to run the ball, which was 27 rushing yards. They got outrushed 211-27. The defense couldn't stop the run, and the Packers now 2-2. On to the Sunday games. We'll start with the Jaguars beating the Falcons 23-7 in London. Trevor Lawrence, 207 passing, a touchdown, no interceptions. Christian Kirk, 8 catches for 84 yards, and Calvin Ridley with a touchdown catch. As for Desmond Ridder of the Falcons, 191 passing, a touchdown, 2 picks, and a fumble. The rookie Bijan Robinson had 105 rushing yards, and Drake London caught a touchdown catch in London. So the Jags get a bounce-back win, and they get that across the pond, and they advance to 2-2. The Jags offense had 312 yards, and they ran for 105. The Jags defense with 4 sacks, a forced fumble, 2 picks, 1 being a pick 6. And as for the Falcons offense, 318 yards of offense. They ran well for 127, but Desmond Ridder was very bad. He had 3 turnovers, especially the back-to-back picks that changed the tide of this game. It's the second week in a row that Atlanta struggled, especially on offense. The Falcons are now facing a 2-2 record. Next, the Rams beat the Colts 29-23 in overtime. Matt Stafford, 319 passing, a touchdown, 1 pick. Karan Williams had 103 rushing yards with 2 scores, and the rookie Puka Nacua keeps performing very well, 9 catches, 163, and a touchdown. As for another rookie, Anthony Richardson of the Colts, 200 passing, 2 scores, no interceptions. He also had 56 rushing yards with a rushing score and 1 fumble. As for a rookie tight end, Drew Ogletree had a touchdown catch in this game, and the Rams almost blow a 23-point lead, but they hang on in overtime for the win to go 2-2 on the season. After leading 23-0 with 20 minutes left in the game, the Colts went on their own 20-3 run to send the game into overtime. First drive in overtime, Stafford drives down the field and hits the rookie Puka Nacua for the game-winning touchdown. The Rams offense got it done with 483 yards. The run game took off with 164, and the Rams defense had 2 sacks and a fumble. As for the Colts, 333 yards of offense, ran for 133. The rookie QB, Richardson, he had 256 total yards and 3 total touchdowns. He's the main reason why the Colts forced overtime. He put the team on his back after being down 23-0. He extended plays with his legs, and the kid's truly a baller. The Colts defense had 2 sacks and a fumble, and the Colts are now 2-2 on the season. Next, the Ravens beat the Browns 28-3. Lamar Jackson, 186 passing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He also had 2 rushing scores and a fumble. Mark Andrews, the tight end, 5 catches, 80 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the rookie, gets the start. 121 passing, no touchdowns, 3 picks, and David Njoku, 6 catches for 46 yards. So the Ravens crutch their divisional rival on the road and go to 3-1. The Ravens offense, 317 yards. They ran for 131. Their defense had 3 sacks, 3 picks, and shut down the Browns offense. And the Browns with no Deshaun Watson due to a shoulder injury. They put in the rookie Dorian Thompson-Robinson, DTR is his nickname. They throw him into the fire last minute. The kid struggled, but you can't really blame him. He probably wasn't even expecting to play. The Browns offense, 214 yards, just 93 rushing yards. The Browns defense had 3 sacks and a forced fumble, but they couldn't stop the run, and they were also on the field a lot due to the lack of offense. The Browns go to 2-2. Next, the Vikings beat the Panthers 21-13. Kirk Cousins, 139 passing, 2 scores and 2 picks. Justin Jefferson, 6 catches for 85 yards and a touchdown. I'm sorry, he had 2 touchdowns. And as for the rookie Bryce Young of the Panthers, 204 passing, no touchdown, no picks, and a fumble. Adam Thielen, 7 catches for 76 yards. The Vikings get their first win of the season, are now 1-3. They started off rough. Cousins threw a 99-yard pick six on the first drive of the game. The Vikings punt on the next possession. The Panthers get a field goal, and all of a sudden they're up 10-0. The Vikings are in trouble, but Justin Jefferson comes through. He scores. Panthers lead 10-7. Cousins throws his second pick in Panthers territory, which leads to a Panthers field goal and a 13-7 lead at the end of half. The game-changing play, though, was late in the third quarter. Harrison Smith strip sacks Bryce Young. DJ Wanham takes it 70 yards to the house for the scoop and score. And just like that, with a game-changing play, the Vikings lead 14-3. The Vikings offense had 274 yards of offense. Cousins struggled, but for the second week in a row, the Vikings ran the ball very well. They had 135 rushing yards this game. Vikings defense with 5 sacks and the fumble 6. As for the Panthers offense, they had 287. Struggled by running again. They had 83 yards, and they had 0 touchdowns in this game. The rookie Bryce Young fumbled, leading to the Vikings D. The D scoring was the complete momentum changer. Like I said, the Panthers defense, 2 sacks, 2 picks. One was a pick 6, but they couldn't stop the run yet again. And the Panthers are still winless at 0-4. Next, the Titans take care of the Bengals 27-3. Ryan Tannehill, 240 passing, a touchdown and a pick. Derrick Henry, 122 rushing, a touchdown and a 2-yard passing touchdown. Joe Burrow, 165 passing, no touchdowns, no interceptions, and a fumble. And Jamar Chase, 7 catches for 73 yards. So the Titans moved to 2-2 with the dominant win. Their offense had 413 yards. The run game was on fire with 173 yards. Their defense had 3 sacks and a forced fumble and shut down the Bengals offense. And speaking of the Bengals offense, they struggle again, 234 total yards, no touchdowns. They failed to run the ball again with just 72 yards. The Bengals defense had 3 sacks and interception, but they couldn't stop Derrick Henry in the run game. Joe Burrow is awful this year. Jamar Chase expressed himself after the game, frustrated in a post-game interview, saying that I'm always effing open. He's truly disgruntled, and there's some trouble in Cincy right now as they are now 1-3. The next game is the Bucs beating the Saints 26-9. Baker Mayfield, 246 passing, 3 scores, and 1 interception. Chris Godwin, 8 catches for 114. Derek Carr, 127, no touchdowns, no picks, and a fumble. Alvin Kamara, first game back from suspension, 51 rushing yards, 13 catches for 33 yards. So the Bucs go on the road and cruise past their divisional rival to get a 3-1 record. The Bucs offense with 360 yards. They ran for 114 against a very good run defense. Baker had 3 touchdowns to 3 different receivers. The tight end Cade Otton caught one. Wide receivers Devin Thompson and the rookie Trey Palmer also caught one. The Bucs defense with 3 sacks, 2 fumbles, and an interception against their former quarterback, Jameis Winston. Saints offense struggles with 210 yards and 3 turnovers, no touchdowns. They failed to run the ball with just 69 rushing yards, and after trailing 7-3 with seconds to go in the second quarter, the Saints pick off Baker Mayfield inside their 5-yard line, but disaster strikes when their running back, Adam Prentice, I think I pronounced that right. He fumbles on the next play, which leads to a Bucs touchdown. The Bucs lead 14-3 at the end of the first half. Saints defense had a sack, a pick, but they couldn't get help from the offense and are now 2-2 on the season. The Bills beat the Dolphins 48-20. Josh Allen, 320 passing, 4 touchdowns, no picks, and 1 rushing touchdown. Stephon Diggs, 6 catches for 120 and 3 touchdowns. And Gabe Davis had a touchdown catch. As for Tua Tagovailoa, 282 passing, a touchdown, and an interception. Devon Achane, the rookie, had 101 rushing and 2 scores, and the Bills coast to a 3-1 record after stopping their divisional rival. After being tied 14-14 in the second quarter, the Bills outscored the Dolphins 34-6. The Bills offense, 424 yards, no turnovers, 6 total touchdowns. Bills defense, 4 sacks, 1 pick, and 1 fumble. The Bills offense, the last 3 games, scored 38, 37, and 48 points, averaging 41 points per game in these 3 games. The Dolphins' high-powered offense last week had 70 points, but this week they only had 20. Their offense had 424 yards as well. They ran for 143 yards, but unfortunately they had 2 turnovers that the Bills capitalized off of. They also had other issues. The pass blocking was awful. 8 penalties for 98 yards. They just can't win games that way. And the defense had 2 sacks, but no turnovers and couldn't stop the Bills' offense. The Finns lose their first game of the season to go to 3-1. The next game, Broncos beat the Bears 31-28. Russell Wilson, 223 passing, 3 touchdowns, and no picks. The rookie Jaleel McLaughlin had 72 rushing yards and a receiving touchdown, and Cortland Sutton with a touchdown catch. As for Justin Fields of the Bears, 335 passing, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick, and 1 fumble. Khalil Herbert with 103 rushing and a receiving touchdown. DJ Moore, 8 catches for 131 and a score. And Cole Kmet, the tight end, 7 catches, 85 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So the Broncos got their first win of the season after an epic comeback. They were down 28-7. They're now 1-3 on the season. And, at first it seemed like all hope was lost for the Broncos as they trailed the Bears by 21 points. The score was 28-7 as the Bears led with 4 minutes in the third quarter. The Broncos score a TD with 14 seconds left in the third to make it a 28-14 game. The next Bears offensive possession, they punt. Russell Wilson hits Jerry Jeudy a couple times on the drive and caps it off with a touchdown pass to Sutton. And suddenly with 9 minutes left in the fourth, the Broncos cut the Bears lead to just 7 as the score was 28-21. Bears next offensive drive, they get to midfield, but disaster strikes when Justin Fields fumbles the ball. The Broncos scoop and score, and just like that, we have a tie game with 7 minutes to go. The Bears bounce back, or they try to bounce back on the next offensive drive. They get themselves down to the Broncos' 20-yard line. It's 4th and 1 with 3 minutes left. The Bears go for it, but they're denied. They should have went for the field goal, but instead they didn't, and the Broncos wind up taking advantage of this. They're able to go down the field, kick a field goal to go up 31-28 with 1:40 left. The Bears still get a chance, but they get Justin Fields throws a pick at the end of the game, and it seals it for the Broncos. And it's just a devastating loss if you're a Bears fan, especially, because you guys have been through so much the last couple of years. The Broncos offense had 320 yards. They ran for 90. They had no turnovers. And Russell Wilson really balled out in this game. The Broncos defense, they did give up 500-plus yards, but they came up big, especially late in the game with that fumble 6 and the interception. They also forced a punt. They got a sack. They stopped a 4th and 1 in that fourth quarter. They finished with 4 sacks on the game, and a tremendous comeback for the first win for the Broncos in the Sean Payton era and of this season. As for the Bears, they had 506 yards with 171 rushing. Fields balled out, but 2 costly turnovers late in that game. The Bears defense wasn't much help, only 1 sack with no turnovers. Painful way to lose. My heart goes out to Bears fans. They're still winless at 0-4 on the season and haven't won since last October. The Eagles beat the Commanders 34-31 in overtime. Jalen Hurts, 319, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. A.J. Brown, 9 catches for 175 and 2 scores. On DeAndre Swift with a rushing touchdown. As for Sam Howell, 290 passing, no touchdowns, no picks. Brian Robinson, a rushing touchdown, and Terry McLaurin, 8 catches for 86 yards, and he recovered a fumble in the end zone for a touchdown. So the Eagles remain undefeated at 4-0. They win a thrilling win in overtime against their division rival. They were down 17-7 late in the second quarter, but they did their famous field goal to end the first half, then opened up the second half by scoring another field goal, making it 17-3. They get a 59-yard touchdown to A.J. Brown, followed by a 2-point conversion, and just like that, they're up 21-17. The Eagles lead 24-17 with 8 minutes left in the fourth. The Commanders tie at 24-24. A.J. Brown would score the next touchdown for the Eagles, making it 31-24 with 1:30 to go. But Sam Howell and the Commanders, they convert a 3rd and 17, a 4th and 2 to stay alive. With 1 second left on the clock, Howell hits Jahad Dotson for the game-tying touchdown to force overtime. But in overtime on the first possession, the Commanders would punt. The Eagles would go down and move the ball to midfield, convert a 4th and 1, kick the field goal, and get the win. So the Eagles finished with 423 yards, 104 rushing, and no turnovers. The Eagles defense finished the game with 5 sacks. The Commanders had 397 yards, ran for 107, and also had no turnovers. And despite the loss, Sam Howell had a sick drive to tie the game to force overtime. Commanders defense had 3 sacks. The Commanders now 2-2. Texans beat the Steelers 30-6. Kenny Pickett 114, no touchdowns and a pick. He left with a knee injury. Najee Harris with 71 rushing yards. Texans quarterback C.J. Stroud, the rookie, 306 passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Nico Collins had 7 catches, 168 and 2 scores. And Dalton Schultz had his first touchdown catch as a Texan. Texans get to 2-2 with a dominant performance. The rookie continues to ball out as he and the Texans offense had 451 offensive yards. They ran for 139, and they also didn't turn the ball over. C.J. Stroud has yet to throw a pick. The Texans defense had 3 sacks and a pick of their own. Steelers offense was bad yet again. The run game wasn't that bad. They had 114 yards rushing, but the pass game was terrible. Their offense finished with 246 yards and no touchdowns. Hopefully Pickett's knee injury isn't that serious. And the Steelers' defense, known for being great, was terrible at best. They had no turnovers, no sacks. They gave up over 450 yards, and they gave up 30 points. And the Steelers are now 2-2. The Chargers beat the Raiders 24-17. Justin Herbert, 167 passing, a touchdown and a pick. He also had 2 rushing scores. Keenan Allen with a touchdown catch. The rookie Aiden O'Connell was the backup quarterback for the Raiders. 238 passing, no touchdowns, 1 pick, or a rushing touchdown, and 2 fumbles. Josh Jacobs, 58 rushing yards and a rushing score, 8 catches for 81 yards as well. So the Chargers advance to 2-2 after they pull off a win against their division rival. The Chargers have to give their fans heart attacks, right? They had a 24-7 lead at the end of halftime, and then the Raiders get a couple nice drives, and all of a sudden it's 24-17 in the late game. Chargers can never make it easy. If I was a Chargers fan, I'd have gray hair right now, no doubt about it. I can only imagine what went through their heads when they failed that 4th and 1 on their own 40-yard line that gave the Raiders a possession to tie the game with just 3 minutes left. Devontae Adams had a 4th and 10 catch inside of the 10-yard line. And I just know the Chargers fans were sweating because they've seen this before. But luckily, they got a pick that sealed the game. The Chargers offense, 322 yards while running for 155. Chargers defense with 6 sacks, 2 forced fumble, and a pick. And how about Khalil Mack turning the clock back? He had 6 sacks, all 6 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles for the Chargers, ironically against his former team. The Raiders' offense had 314 yards, but they struggled with the run again with just 76 yards. The rookie quarterback, Aiden O'Connell, filled in for the concussed Jimmy Garoppolo, and his debut didn't go as planned. He had 3 turnovers, but he did look better as the game went on. The Raiders' defense had 2 sacks and an interception. They defended the pass pretty well, but they could not stop the run. The Raiders are now 1-3. The Niners win 35-16 over the Cardinals. Brock Purdy, 283 passing, a touchdown, no interceptions, and 1 rushing score. Christian McCaffrey, 106 rushing, 3 touchdowns, 7 catches for 71, and a receiving touchdown. Brandon Ayuk, 6 catches for 148. And as for Josh Dobbs of the Cardinals, 265 passing, 2 scores, no picks. Hollywood Brown, 7 catches for 96 yards. And the rookie Michael Wilson, 7 catches, 76 yards, and 2 scores. So the Niners remain undefeated at 4-0. They took care of their divisional rival. Their offense had 407 yards with 124 rushing yards and 4 rushing touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey was responsible for 177 of those yards. He also had 4 total touchdowns. So if you had him in fantasy, it's safe to say that you definitely won this week. The Niners defense had a sack and only allowed 16 points. The Cardinals had 370 yards of offense. They ran for 105. They didn't turn the ball over against an elite defense, and the Cardinals defense had 1 sack, but they gave up 400 plus yards, and they had no answer for Christian McCaffrey as they go 1-3 on the season. Next, my Cowboys handled business 38-3 against the Patriots. Dak Prescott, 261 passing, a touchdown, no picks. CeeDee Lamb with a touchdown catch. Tight end Jake Ferguson, 7 catches for 77 yards. Mac Jones of the Pats, 150 passing, no touchdowns, and 2 picks. He was benched for Bailey Zapp, and Hunter Henry, the tight end, 4 catches for 51 yards. So the Cowboys lay a beat down to go 3-1. Their offense moved the ball at will with 405 yards and 124 rushing yards. The red zone offense still kind of worries me, though, but their defense absolutely snapped. 2 sacks, a fumble 6, and 2 picks. 1 went back for a pick 6. The Cowboys had 35 points victory over Bill Belichick, which was the worst loss of his career. And the Patriots offense really struggled, just 260 yards, and they couldn't run the ball again for just 53 yards, especially Mac Jones, 3 turnovers and was benched. And after the fumble 6, you could see the energy of the Patriots just fizzle away. Patriots defense had 3 sacks, but no turnovers. They also got gashed against the Cowboys offense. Patriots are now 1-3. The next game was the Chiefs beating the Jets 23-20. Patrick Mahomes, 203 passing, a touchdown, 2 picks. He also had 51 rushing yards. As for Isaiah Pacheco, 115 rushing and a score. And Travis Kelce, 6 catches for 60 yards. So Zach Wilson had a good game. 245 passing, 2 touchdowns, no pick, and 1 fumble. Allen Lazard with a touchdown catch, and Garrett Wilson, 9 catches for 60 yards. So the Chiefs moved to 3-1 in a close game that nobody really expected to be this close. The Chiefs had a first quarter 17-0 lead, which turned into a 20-20 tie at the end of the third quarter. The Chiefs got a field goal to take a 23-20 lead with 9 minutes to go, but after a Zach Wilson fumble, Mahomes converts a huge 3rd and 22 with his legs with 6 minutes to go. The Chiefs also get a couple penalties in their favor that extended the drive, that allowed them to bleed out the clock for the win. Their offense had 407 yards, 204 rushing. The Chiefs defense with 2 sacks and a fumble, and I believe that it was Taylor Swift who was there who saved them this game. The Jets, they fought to the very end, but it wasn't enough, sadly. The Jets offense with 353 yards. They finally got the run game going with 108 yards. Zach Wilson had a hell of a game. He really did. He heard the noise and he balled out. That fumble really wasn't on him. It was kind of like a bad center exchange. The Jets defense had a sack and 2 picks. They played very well, but they couldn't stop the run, and I believe they got screwed by penalties. The Chiefs got away with a lot of holding, and then that 3rd and 20 towards the end of the game, they called a defensive PI on Sauce, which I don't really agree with, but I guess the refs just see it that way, and the Jets fall to 1-3. The final game, the Monday night game, the Seahawks beat the Giants 24-3. Geno Smith, 110 passing, a touchdown, no interceptions. Kenneth Walker, 79 rushing yards and a score. DK Metcalf had a touchdown catch. As for Daniel Jones of the Giants, 203 passing, no touchdowns, 2 picks, 66 rushing yards and 1 fumble. Matt Breida, 5 catches for 48 yards. The Seahawks improved to 3-1 with a stellar Monday night performance. The Hawks offense had 294 yards, no turnovers. They ran the ball efficiently with 121 rushing yards. And how about the defense? 11 sacks, a fumble, 2 picks, 1 went back for 6, 2 fourth down stops, and they only allowed 3 points. Amazing performance overall by them. Opposite of amazing was the New York Giants. Their offense had 315 yards, no touchdowns, 3 turnovers. The offensive line got completely dominated, giving up those 11 sacks. They couldn't pass protect or run protect. The run game had 112 yards, but no Saquon again, and this team lacked explosiveness in the run game. The 95-yard pick six from Daniel Jones with 1:20 to go in the third quarter was basically the nail in the coffin. The Giants defense had 2 sacks. They couldn't force a turnover, and they couldn't tackle. They're very bad at tackling, this team. This defense, should I say. Daniel Jones is now 1-12 in primetime games, and the Giants fall to 1-3 on the season. So that's it for the Week 4 recap. Let me know what your guys' favorite game was. Let me know what you guys thought the games were boring. Did your team win or lose? Let me know. Remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Follow me on my Instagram. Take care and enjoy your night.